For those who may not have ever met you, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Anthony Otto Nelson Jr. Please call me Otto. That's what I would like to go by. Born and raised right here in Durham, North Carolina, Bull City. 29. I'm a professional dancer, dance artist, arts activist. My day job, I actually do work in grants management for NC State for research professors in the biochemical engineering department there. Outside of that, I also do my own movement work. So I'm a creator, I'm a collaborator. I work with youth, I work with adults, I do arts activism, and I do some mental health activism work, some facilitative practices, somatic practices. That's like my realm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love somatic practices as a term. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Speaking of terms, what do the terms self-care and soft life, these are buzzwords now on social media. Oof. What does that mean to you, particularly in the lives of Black men and black men's mental health?
Can I just say soft life has become one of my new favorite terms. I'm like, oh, that just sounds very nice. But when I think of that, particularly in my realm, now related to black men particularly, I always think low sensory, low triggering, something that invites relief, calmness, particularly in contrast to high energy, something that's chaotic, right? You want to contrast that it's just like day-to-day life. So that's what I think about, like, when I hear soft life or when I hear self-care. It's almost in juxtaposition to all of the things that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But when we particularly add on that extra layer of Black men, it begins to get a little tricky, I feel. I feel nowadays it's now becoming more common for Black men, and it's becoming acceptable to say, yeah, I do want a soft life. I do want to feel self-cared for. And I think that is, again, like in juxtaposition to the stigma of particularly Black men that you can't be soft. And if you are soft, then that also comes with the extra connotation of your identity. And if, I also identify as a Black, gay, cisgendered man. But because I am gay, it means I'm naturally softer, right? And something about that word soft, bringing on that into your life as a Black male, it adds that extra connotation into your identity when really most folks don't identify that way. Excellent. And they just want to take care of themselves.
Absolutely, so. Yep. Soft. We're transitioning this soft word into how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, and how you operate.
Right.
Yes.
About who you are.
I love that.
Right?
Separate those two things.
So then, if I were to throw out some statistics, particularly about mental health, what would your reaction be to one of the stats that show that mental illness and suicide rate, the rates for suicide, particularly in the Black community, specifically for Black men, has increased tremendously since 2018.
Oh, that's over there.
How do you react to that? What thoughts do you have about that?
Well, before I even get to my thoughts, I live in my body, so I'm gonna go there first. I feel very dense right here in the center of my chest. It almost feels heavy, almost like deep grief. And I think partially because my journey is also part of that statistic as well. But when first hearing it, I'm not surprised, but it does invite deep sadness, because something about the pandemic has revealed lots and lots and lots of great things, that like, oh, we've been overworking ourselves so much. We need to have better work-life balance. I think that is a great positive thing that's come from COVID. And in addition to that, what's also come out of that is the realization of lack of resources, particularly in the Black community. But when we talk about Black men, right, being isolated and not being able to, and I'm thinking about the first parts of the pandemic, but even before pandemic, when you talk about all of the racial riots that's all been happening. All of that, and we see it on social media and we absorb all of that. So when we talk about particularly black men,